Hi there. My name is Raven Ortolan. I am a senior career advisor in the Career Center at Creighton University, and we have a wealth of resources that are available to students, whether they're undergraduates or grad students. So even if you're away and you're a distance student for the MPH program, I want you to know that there's lots of different ways that you can connect with us. And that is the purpose of this presentation, to give you an orientation not only to the staff at Creighton University, or the staff at the Creighton Career Center at Creighton University, but then also a lot of the different resources that you can take advantage of. Our agenda today is to introduce you to our team and then also learn what the Career Center can do for you. We have a variety of different topics that we'll cover, and then also give you some instructions and some information on how you can connect with our team. So first, I'd like you to meet our staff. We have Jeremy Fisher. He's our director. He is a wealth of information. He has worked at Creighton University for 15 years, and prior to that, he received an MBA from Creighton University and has also been an HR representative or an HR staff person in the Omaha area. So he has a lot of great connections that he can help you with. We have at the bottom a link to our staff information. So if ever you want to connect with someone, in addition to this PowerPoint that you'll have access to, you also have information to this blog. So if we have new staff persons, that's where you can get their information from. And then here we have Delynn Buck. She is our assistant director and also supervises our front desk staff. So if you call to make an appointment, you might connect with her, or if you're having questions about one of our events that you can see through Handshake, a resource I'll talk about later, she may also be a point person for you. Then we have Teresa Preister, a career and internship advisor. She works with students from nursing and arts and sciences colleges. And then you have myself, who is making this presentation. Again, I'm Raven Ortolan, and I also work with nursing and then arts and science students. And the way that we have that broken down is that encompasses not only our undergraduate programs, but our graduate programs and our alumni as well. So if you're looking for basically, if you're looking for a position that wouldn't be under the business umbrella, then you are probably connecting with Teresa or myself. However, if you are connecting or looking for a business specific type of position, then I would recommend you connect with either Heather or Caitlin Drummy. Heather is our Assistant Director of Business Career Programs, and then Caitlin is another one of our business career advisors specifically. So now I'd like to introduce you to our services so that really this is the bulk of this presentation, so you know where you can go. First, for a resume, CV, or cover letter guidance. Now, I'm going to assume that you know the difference between a resume or a CV and why you might use one over the other. Of course, we could talk you through that if that was information you didn't have. We have a lot of different resources that you can access to help give you some guidance if you're really developing or trying to strengthen your existing professional documents. So we'll go over those on our website. We also have Career Advisor Network, which is an excellent resource, and we have access to professionals who could also look over your resume, CV, or cover letter. We have other job search correspondents that can give you guidance, but then also we, the Career Center, our career advisors, will happily do a resume or CV or cover letter review, and that can be via phone or via a video if you wanted to connect with us via Zoom or Skype, but also via email. So sometimes you may have just want a quick review and you don't necessarily think it's worth an appointment, but you'd like some sort of professional to look over that. That'd be a great reason to connect with us. But here we're going to take a break from the PowerPoint and go, and I'll actually show you some of these resources. Here we have the creighton.edu/career center page, and this is where most of our resources are housed. So I would suggest after this presentation, looking over and familiarizing yourself where some of these pieces are located. What I want to show you right now, clicking on the Students tab, and then the Resume and Career Correspondence tab. Once you're here, if you scroll down, we're going to click on this Career Advisor Network in a second, but I wanted to show you that we have this guide, this resume and cover letter manual. It's a 27-page guide, lots of information about how to develop different resources. And so, for example, if I was interested in updating a graduate CV, they'll break down the different components for me. So they'll talk about the different sections, if I have a research section or publication section, different pieces to consider. And this is just one example. So if I was looking at a resume specifically, I could, of course, look at one of those resumes for suggestions. If I want to look at a cover letter, I have I have it broken down here, and I have different samples that I could review to give me an idea if I'm really on track or if my documents are as strong as I want them to be. I'm going to backtrack quickly just to show you that we also have additional examples here. So if I want to see maybe what another example would look like, I can see if I'm really comfortable with my sections the way that they are, if I want to revise them. We also have this other job search correspondence link. And here I think it's helpful if there are potentially conversations that you're having that you don't really know how to start them out. So I would think of declining a position or maybe a response to a rejection that you applied for. These can be a nice way to, I don't have to think about how to start this. I can at least use a template and then use my own information or my own language as feels comfortable to me. So I'm wanting you to know that these are here as well. Regarding resumes and cover letter, that's really what we have on our site that I think will be most helpful for people who are graduate level students. But here, let's go to the Career Advisor network that I referenced earlier. This is something that Creighton is paying for and that any Creighton alumni or current Creighton student has access to. And so you can create an account there and have access to 6,000, I think it's over 6,000 vetted professionals from a variety of employers and industries, and they can help you on a variety of topics. So let's go in so you can see what this looks like. And here I'm going to click on Career Advisors. So here on the right, we'll have a number of professionals that can help us in different areas. But if I want, I can filter and look for particular topics. So in this example, let's say I'm not interested in a career conversation, but I'm interested in a resume CV critique, or maybe I'm interested in a cover letter critique. Excellent, I could look for those particular areas. And then if I'm interested too, I could filter by field of study, or by employers, or by location, or by industries, really by many different areas. So if, industries here, let's do add more industries. Let's do public health. Oh, let's see, they have public policy, let's do that. And then they're going to give me a number of people that either have worked in the past in public policy or are doing that currently. So let's see. Uzaifa, let's look at him. So here it looks like every professional is going to have different conversations or topics that they're willing to do. This person, it looks like they're doing career conversations, resumes, and CVs. And then I can pick what I wanted to have. And then I can see what times are available. And for this particular, well, for the career site in general, for this career advisor network, my understanding is that you have 4 free meetings that you can have per month. And so, and they'll let you know that as you go through the process. I haven't walked through the tutorial in a little bit, but it's approximately 4, if not exactly 4. And this is a really nice opportunity, not only, of course, to use your resume and CV critique like we're looking at now, but additionally, if this was something that I was interested in, maybe having a career conversation with someone, if I was trying to network, which we'll be talking about in another minute or so, this would be a nice tool to use. But they also have mock interviews. So really, if there is something that you want through the Career Center, this is also another tool that you could use. And it gives you access to different professionals. So even if you want to break into a different area or have someone from a different sector that you're working in review your documents or have a conversation with, this is an excellent resource. Know also that they have these webinars. So if I wanted to maybe learn about something in my area or outside my area, if I want to talk about, or if I want to learn about cover letters, if I want to learn about resumes, if I want to learn about really a variety of different areas, here we have career search etiquette. This is another tool that you have access to. And certainly you can search by grad student or professional, which is kind of more where you're at, to see information that's going to be specific for you. Excellent. So that is what we have with resume CVs. Let's look onward. Next, talking about building a network. And of course, that's a really important topic for someone who is a professional. And I know that you're doing that now, and the people in your MPH program are you're part of your network, and the people at your current workspace are part of your network. But if you're hoping to expand that even further, the Career Advisor Network that we just explored would be an excellent resource. I'll also show you LinkedIn. Going back to the resume piece in that resume manual, it also had information there on how to build your LinkedIn profile. So if that's something you're not comfortable with, that would be another reason that you might want to look at those resources. And also something you could connect with a career advisor over. We'll look at Handshake, and that's another good tool. Career Shift, we'll talk briefly about GHJ, and then know that you can always have a networking conversation with someone at the Career Center, and we can help connect you with people too. So let's first look at LinkedIn. LinkedIn is, I would say, first and foremost, a networking tool, but of course you can also look for jobs through LinkedIn. They do have that capacity as well. We're going to, though, for the purposes of today, explore their networking function with their linkedin.com/alumni tool. If you haven't looked at that before, it's a really fun one to explore. Now, I went to the University of Minnesota, so when I log into linkedin.com/alumni, this is what's going to show up for me. I'm uncertain how it shows up for someone who maybe had a bachelor's at a different institution but is currently going to school at Creighton. But regardless, if it doesn't show up as Creighton when you first log in, go up to Change University, and here we can type it in. And now we can see that there's over 33,000 alumni that are connected to LinkedIn from Creighton University. And if I want, I can look for alumni who are potentially in my area. So let's say I'm in Minneapolis. I can then see where they work. I can see what they do. And if I go to this next page, I can also see what they're studying. So if I don't see public policy or public health in that initial area, I can type that in. And now when I go to see what they study, there it is showing up. And now if I want, I can go previous. I can see where these people specifically are working because I now have 14 alumni that I know have studied public health. And here I can actually see what they're doing too. So if I knew then that I wanted to connect with, let's say, for example, if I want to connect with Meredith Heibel, I can see where she's been, see where some of her specific positions have been. And if I want to connect with her here, great. But what I also might want to do is reach out to either myself or perhaps Jeremy Fisher in this instance and say, is this person's information in the alumni database? If so, can you connect me with their phone number or email, because I'd like to reach out to them and continue to develop my network or ask some questions. This is a great way to use the linkedin.com/alumni tool. And we have another resource that you could use if you're trying to connect with someone specifically. I'm going back to that main Creighton Career Center page and scrolling down here, actually here, going to the Students tab, and then I'm going to this Career Shift. Now, Career Shift I find helpful to a degree, not as helpful as some of our other resources, but in case you really connect with it, I want you to know that this resource is here. And you can look for jobs here. I say most people are probably using it for contacts. I'm going to show you that particular function. Now, Career Shift is pulling more from the internet, so it's not that people are opting in to use Career Shift or to have their information displayed here, but it's going to pull what it can find from different internet resources. And I think that's where it's somewhat helpful, but maybe not as helpful as other things that I've been showing you. Here, I'll type in my name so you can see how this would work. And then we can search. And it knows that I'm working at Creighton University and it knows my position, but it doesn't have my contact information since that information isn't posted on our website. So if I go contact details, it doesn't have my phone number or email, but it can tell you different positions I've had. And it's mostly correct, although I didn't work at the University of Texas. That was still in Minnesota. So it's right a lot of the time, wrong some of the time, but can be helpful if you are trying to connect with someone and you don't have their information. You could still use CareerShift to try to find that, but know too that often more helpful than CareerShift would be the alumni database, which our director has access to. All right, back to the Career Center, and I want to show you Handshake. Handshake is what we use to post a lot of the different positions that we have available. Many universities are connected through Handshake, and so you're not just getting people who are posting to Creighton, but people who are posting to universities across the US. And so that is one of the reasons why it's a really nice resource. And even if you haven't logged in before, you probably already have an account, because Handshake pulls from Banner, which is a tool that the university, Creighton University, uses to house all of our students. And so probably you already are here, even if you haven't used it before, and you can use to log in your first name, last name at creighton.edu email, and then your blue password. And if that doesn't make sense to you, it's also written in the description when you click on that handshake link. But here I want it to look like you will see it. So I'm going to click to this, or switch to the student's account. And then once here, we're now to the jobs tab. Because of course you could look for jobs through Handshake. And I'm going to keep it vague because I don't know what specifically you might be looking for, but let's say again, like public health. And I'm not going to look for a specific city or state because you're all across the US is my understanding. So then here, I might not be interested in these particular positions, but maybe I am. However, the other way you can use this, and more from that networking capacity too, is that you can look at the organizations represented, because if an organization is posting on Handshake, that means that a career services representative has access to the contact information for that organization. So if I'm interested in working for Oregon Health Authority, I could connect you with one of their human resource specialists. Or maybe you want to work for the Wisconsin Air National Guard. Perhaps you want to work at the Boston Public Health Commission. If you see someone or an organization here, then you know that I have access to their contact information. So that would be another thing to add to your network. So in addition to job searching, you could also use it in that capacity. While we're here, I'll show you other things that Handshake has. We do have an events tab, and as distance students, you likely cannot go to many of our events in person. However, if you're interested in learning more about something, or if you are understand that maybe there's an employer that's coming to campus that you'd like to learn more about. If they're coming to campus, clearly they're interested in connecting with students, and we can virtually connect you. So you're always welcome to look through these events to see what's happening. You can also go to Fair Search. The Career Center is going to host fairs once in fall and once in spring. We usually have close to 100 employers that will come from a variety of areas. And they're looking often for undergraduates, but if they have full-time jobs, they're open to graduates as well. So if there is someone that you would like to learn more about, you can always go to the fair and click on the spring fair. It's not going to be probably too helpful for us. But you can see who's going to be attending that career fair. And now this is something that's happening in February. So right now we have 33 employers that have already signed up early. But as you get closer to that time, you'll see the entirety of who's attending. So if you want us to connect you with someone, you know that they're there at the fair because they're looking for applicants. Fantastic. This would be another way we can connect you. And the last thing I want to show you on Handshake before I go on to a different resource is that this is how you can connect with a career advisor and schedule an appointment online. So if I go then to Career Center and I click on appointments, I could schedule a new appointment. I'm a staff member, so if I click schedule a new appointment, we'll just see a blank page because I can't schedule an appointment, but you could. So you could then go through the process and find someone who you can meet with. And I guess I'll just say, just so you know, that Handshake looks somewhat like LinkedIn, so you could choose to put as much or as little effort into Handshake as is interesting to you. If you make your profile public, employers can see it. So you can see I've put just a little bit of effort in here just to show what this resource can look like. You can also upload resumes, and I think you can do that down here. Yep. So I could upload documents as well, and that way anyone who can see my profile can also see my information. Going back then to the Career Center main page, I do want to show you real briefly another resource you have. I'm going to click on this alumni tab here, because one of the resources that you can use is this J2J. Now, this isn't something you're probably using now because you're an active student, but before long you're going to be an alumni, and we have alumni based across the US. And this is where you can learn about different events, and you can join forums that are online and help you connect. I know recently our director was in Boston and they ran an alumni event, and there were people from all the different sectors connecting. So keep this in mind that J2J is a great way to connect going forward, even if it's not something you have access to today since you're not an alumni right now. And then before we leave networking, I'll just go quickly to the Students tab, click on the Networking tab here. A lot of the information that we talked about is already going to be represented here, but just as a reminder that this is a nice kind of an umbrella where all the different information is housed. So you have this information too, if you're interested in connecting, if you don't want to have to go through that back through the PowerPoint to learn where things are. This again is a link to the alumni tool. When I click on that Learn More, this is more information on how to update and optimize your LinkedIn account. So know that you have all these resources. All right, so that's what we have on networking. Going forward, talking about job search tools and resources. Again, we've touched on some of these so far because we did look at Handshake and how that can be used for job searching. We talked about Career Shift. I showed you that resource a little bit. And then also LinkedIn, which I don't have here on the PowerPoint, but that is another tool that we've just looked at that could also be used for job searching. In addition to that, I'm going to show you some of the job search tips and job search etiquette information that we have on our website, and then also touch on Going Global, which is a resource I'm always a fan of. Of course, you can always access personalized job search assistant through the Career Center. We would be happy to talk with you and know what you're specifically looking for, what you've done, really help cater that conversation to your needs. And then the Career Advisor Network, another resource I didn't have listed on this particular PowerPoint, you can have those same job search conversations with professionals on Career Advisor Network. So you have so many places that you can go to. All right, let's look at some job search tips and job search etiquette. Again, at our Career Center site, we're going to go to the Internship and Job Search tab. And now here you'll see a number of resources we have on the right, most of which we talk about. Vault, I don't have us going through today. You can certainly log into Vault. It is more exploratory, but there are some job searching tips you can do there. You can actually research companies. So I think that Vault can be interesting, even though I'm not going to delve into it further today for this purposes of this presentation. But here you can see that we have, if you click on the job search tips, we're going to walk you through it. This might be information you're familiar with, but also you can just go through to make sure that you have a thorough understanding of the job search process. We can also go down to job search etiquette, and we'll give you a number of information to consider, thinking about access to career information, thinking about confidentiality, thinking about freedom from undue pressure, etc. This is a nice piece to think not only of what your expectations and etiquette are, but also employer etiquette. So making sure that everything is settled or looking correct on both sides. Even though there's lots of information there, I'm not going to go over it. I just want you to know that's where that exists. And then I also want to show you that if you scroll down here, we have lots of links to different job search sites. So whether you're looking more for a general job search site and you want to see some of those bigger names, of course, we're going to always promote Handshake, but we also have things like Indeed, which is a national job board site. You can also look at career-specific resources, if that's something that's interesting to you, or maybe it's that you're going into government work, and so this would be more applicable to what you're doing. We also have healthcare job search sites for those who are going into that sector, and there are others as well. So know that we have these. And then I also want to show you Going Global. This would be something that you can absolutely access now as a distance student, and that would be clicking on this click to access Going Global off campus, and you can just enter your NetID and Blue password to access it. Once you're an alumni, you're going to actually access this through Handshake. If you click back on the Career Center tab where you can make appointments, there's also a resources tab there, or a resources link, and that's where you can access Going Global once you are an alumni. But regardless, this is going to be a resource you can continue to have access to. I'm just going to log in real quick. Once here, for the sake of job searching, of course, you can go to the Jobs tab, and you can look for jobs both in the US, but also you could look for jobs in other countries if that was something you were interested in doing. And it'll often pull from Indeed. That's, I think, where most of the jobs posted on Going Global comes from. What I appreciate about Going Global is that if you enter something and there's really only 3 results that apply to what you put into the keywords, it'll only show those 3 results. Whereas, of course, if you've used Indeed or something similar to it, you'll know that in addition to the 3 that are most applicable, it'll continue to pull information that the entire page is filled. So it can be muddy and a little bit confusing when you're trying to use those resources. So I appreciate that Going Global does pull more specifically. I think then the downside of Going Global is that it doesn't have as good of an ability to filter. So if I was looking for a particular salary, then I really can't use Going Global for that type of specific search. So it's a little bit of, it has some advantages and has some disadvantages. But the other reason I do appreciate Going Global, well, I would say for any international student, I don't think we have any international students in this online program, but there is information on H-1B visas for anyone who needed it. But here, I like going to this career guides. Regardless of whether you're looking at cities in the US, if you're potentially doing a career shift or like you're moving for your job or moving to a different city and need to find a new job, or if you're going to a different country, they have these really nice guides. I'll use the US city career guides just for the example. So let's say maybe I'm moving to Texas, so I'm going to click on Austin. And here, once I have this open, I can look at job search resources that are more specific to Austin, like what's more popular there. CareerLink, for example, is popular in Omaha, but it's not popular in every other city. And so they'll have information that's more specific to where you're going. They'll have a list of nonprofit and volunteer organizations. They'll have a list of top companies. So here we can see some of the specific areas they have within nonprofits that are connected to Austin. And then they also have information about getting a job, information about professional networking, living there. I mean, really, really nice pieces if you're considering a move, or even if you just want to look and see what's popular near your own city. And they typically just have big cities listed. So if you're in a small city, you'll have to pick a big city that was in your state. But really, I think a nice tool and not one that a lot of students know that we have. Those are the resources I wanted to cover here with job search tools. So I hope that you're enjoying this and following along. Now let's go on. Now talking about interview preparation. We do have some resources online. Of course, I'm going to show you them. But I think the most helpful piece that you can do when you're preparing for an interview is either talk with a professional from the Career Advisor Network or talk with a professional from our setting, from talking with a career advisor in the Creighton's Career Center. And we can have those conversations with you over the phone, or we're happy to do some sort of video connection, whether it be Skype or Zoom or Google Hangouts, whatever works for you. But that way we can do a mock interview and cater it to whatever position you're applying for. And then also in the Career Advisor, they have those webinars. I can think of, especially if you're uncertain about the type of interview, if you haven't done a case interview before and now you're having to do a case interview, for example, it can be really helpful to watch some of those webinars. But I'll show you too some of the general tips we have on our website. Here we are again on our main landing page, and now for the interviewing and negotiating, we're going to go here. And you can see that we have a variety of interviews. We have webinars on face-to-face, phone interviews, and also digital interviewing, very helpful. We have some general guides, information about dressing, dining etiquette, but I think probably the most helpful would be this resource manual. Scrolling through here, it's similar to that resume and cover letter manual that I showed you earlier. Let's see if we had questions about interview attire, we can jump there. It'll give us some information to consider. It also has a lot of questions. I'm not going to scroll through to find them, but they do have questions. They'll have suggestions on how to research your organization. I know in here too, they have a link of different resources that you can use if you're trying to explore salary, and we'll talk briefly about that in the next slide or maybe in the slide after. But just like a nice repository for all this information about interviewing and networking and tips that can be helpful to you. So know that we have this. And we're going to cover evaluating job offers in a second, so this is going to be covered in a moment. So next, talking about salary negotiation tips, evaluating job offers. I imagine this could be helpful to you even if you're not using this now. This is something you could use in the future. And I don't think I mentioned this at the beginning, but because you're a Creighton student, you can use any of these resources. You can use the Career Center after you graduate. So alumni are able to use this free of charge. Now, some of the different things that we have, and I'll show you on the website, would be links to different salary research tools. So something like Glassdoor or Career One Stop, which is not specific to Creighton. You can use this, regardless of what university you're affiliated with, but nice to know that we have them. And then also we have general tips and best practices on our website. And then of course the Career Advisor Network, which they have many professionals who will talk to you about salary negotiation and evaluating job offers. And then there are certainly webinars that will cover this topic. And you can also meet with a career advisor. We would always be happy to talk with you about your specific job offer if you're looking for, is this good considering the wages I've received in the past? What would you suggest for negotiating, etc. Now let's go in and look. So here, if I was looking at evaluating job offers, we have a link here. And they'll give you some quick information to consider. You might be familiar with some of these pieces, but you might have something new as well. And again, they're referencing that Career Advisor Network. If I go back to salary compensation and research, these are links to those salary estimation tools I was talking about. So let's use, for example, Career One Stop Salary Finder. And this information is from the U.S. Department of Labor and Statistics, so it's reported salaries. And if I wanted to look for something like, let's argue epidemiologist, here we go, look at the city. Let's Portland, Oregon, just for sake of argument, let's do search. And so it can give you an idea of where Portland is to the rest of the United States, and then what you can anticipate, given if that's your interest or that's the type of role you want within that area. So know that we have these here as well. And then there's others. Glassdoor is something that you can look at, and then we also have the LinkedIn salary tool, and also cost of living calculators as well, because that can be a helpful part of the negotiation tool or the negotiation conversation. And then last, we have salary negotiation tips here, and give you additional pointers and things to consider when you're having those negotiation conversations. And then the last resource that I want to really talk about today is assessments and career counseling for anyone who's career shifting. If the public health masters of public health is something that's helping you get into a new area, or if in the future you decide to shift, one of the things you can do, of course, is meet with us and have a conversation of where else you might like to go or how you can use your existing skills to really be leveraged in a different area. That would also be another reason you could meet with someone in the Career Advisor Network. But we also have a variety of career assessments, not only for career shifters, but also for people who just want to leverage their existing strengths in the roles that they're in. So we have focus and strong interest inventory, and those are typically more for career shifters. And then we have the Clifton Strengths for Students, which is an assessment that would normally cost around $20, or maybe it's like $20 to $30. But as a Creighton student, you would be able to get that for free. For those of you who don't know, Gallup is behind this Clifton Strengths for Students, and Gallup is located in Omaha. So of course, it's something we're going to be proud of. It's something we're going to know well. This assessment is based in positive psychology. It's this idea that there are 34 strengths that we all operate out of, but we tend to operate most out of our top 5 to 10 strengths. So for example, my top strength is empathy, but it could also be something like includer or maximizer. And so this Clifton Strengths for Students assessment is something you can take. It'll generate your top 10 strengths, and you can understand how you use them in your own position. It can be a nice way to give you language for how to elevate yourself, either if you're trying to seek a promotion or if you just want to know more about how you operate on a day-to-day basis. And then from that, we also have strengths coaching. I don't know if you remember from the staff people that I talked about, but Caitlin Drummy, who is one of our business career advisors, she is a certified strengths coach. And so she would be an excellent example of someone you could meet with to really delve deeper into your strengths. And we have other people on staff who can help. I mention her because that's specifically an area that she has and is certified for. But I want you to know that these exist, and I'll show you where you can find some of this information on our website. So then if you're on our landing page and you go to the Students tab, you can go to Career and Academic Exploration. If I click on Career Assessments, you'll have information and links to the different assessments I talked about and some additional ones as well. And they'll let you know how you can access those different types of assessments. Well, those are the resources that I wanted to discuss today, and I really hope that you enjoyed or at least took away some information from this presentation so that you feel more confident about what you can access as a digital student. The Career Center has so many different tools that students can use regardless of where you are, and I really hope you take advantage of them. If you do want to make an appointment with us, you can schedule online through Handshake, which I showed you. You can also call our front desk, and we have the number listed here at 402-280-2722. Our office hours are Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Central Time. An appointment medium, Skype, Zoom, you can talk with us over the phone, and then, of course, you can always connect with us via email. And we have those emails listed earlier in the presentation, but you can also find that information on our website. Well, and that's what I have for you today. So thank you for joining. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to email. Thank you.